Who was your biggest influence as a child and why? If you really dig deep down, it was probably someone who deeply cared for you and actually cared about you. My name is Tyler Godfrey, and I'm going to be informing you about what Next Generation Pastoring is. As I've grown up in church, even just in school, I have not had that. I've had good leaders and I've had bad leaders in my life. Some have cared and some are just there because they had to. Think of a leader in your life when you're in preschool or high school who made it great. What made them so great? Most likely you felt safe and loved by them, just like I did whenever I had a leader in either preschool, elementary school, middle school, or high school. I have worked with the same group of students for 4 years and seen what happens when a consistent leader is with a group of kids. I've been able to see what works for a student, what doesn't work for a student, why we need small group leaders, why we need someone to lead them in that way, why we need a next generation pastor over the preschool ministry, the elementary school, the middle school and high school ministry, and make sure that the child is having an easy transition. I've been seeing what happens when a leader is trained by a great leadership team, and when the pastors work together, like my middle school pastor and our high school pastor work together very well, and they make sure that the child is taken care of and that they're led well, and they're not just led by leaders who just don't care. Next Generation Pastor is the future of discipling your child from a child learning how to talk to graduating high school, from all the way to preschool, all the way to high school. Not many churches understand what Next Generation Pastoring is, which is why I will be explaining these specific things about Next Generation Pastoring. It's not just a family ministry. It helps family ministries grow, and it changes the way we disciple our child. These are things that are very important for you to understand. I will be discussing the first attribute of what a Next Generation Pastoring is. Next Generation Pastoring is not just a family ministry. It's much bigger than that. Orange Ministries is big on Next Generation Pastoring. A pastor by the name of R.J. Grunwald, who transitioned into Next Generation Pastor after being a middle school pastor, he was talking about how he was fighting for alignment of all the family ministries from preschool to young adult. It shows the importance of the position. Like, this pastor understood from whenever he was a middle school pastor the difference and the magnitude of and how important having just an extra leader above it, and just to make sure that they're all working together at the same time. By the statistics from Jim Murphy, Family Ministries pastor at Mountain Park Church in Phoenix, Arizona, he talks about how a Next Gen pastor helps champion every age group, especially because the ministries are working through the transition, because a lot of kids struggle with the transition between elementary to middle school to high school. That's a very important transition that we need to walk through the child with and be able to help them through that. Now let's discuss how Next Generation Pastoring helps family ministries grow. Next Generation Pastoring is critical when helping family ministries grow. It bridges the gaps between age groups and helps change when the child transitions into new stages of life. Next Gen Ministry embraces this broadened perspective. Simply put, it's ministry to multiple age groups who are the next generation. It involves a strategic plan for young people from cradle to college, with measurable goals and clear objectives for each age. And this is from a children's ministry website. So it's like you get to see middle school perspective, you can see a children's perspective, you can see the importance of being able to have goals and objectives for each age, which helps a lot, especially when organizing. Kim Vaught, a children's pastor, was explaining that ministries that are isolating themselves aren't working, and that they need to be a communication and work between ministries. Because let's say you have only a youth ministry with middle school and high school packed into it, and there's no communication with the children's ministry, then the child is going to be confused and not going to want to be involved because they're so confused and they don't know what their place is whenever they're going through the church, and they won't be able to grow freely and be able to flourish freely. Lastly, let's discuss how NextGen Passion changes the discipleship of a child. So it changes with my visual I'm going to use. So how it changes with this. So there are 5 essentials I have here. These are all from Orange. They specialize in curriculum for giving to other churches. And I personally work with Orange through a ministry called For Polk. So this is very near and dear to my heart. And so I'm able to show you what these visuals mean to me and be able to explain them to the best of my ability, because this is, to me, why we do NextGen Pastoring, and this is why we are involved with the child so much. The first essential is align leaders with a common language and strategy. Basically align leaders, making sure that leaders are standing in line together and they're working together, and making sure that the ministries are working together. Number 2, engage every parent to have a positive influence in the spiritual development of their own kids. This is very important that the church works with the home, and that this is how it changes the way that we establish a child, is because the church and the home are working together. Like, we're engaging the parents instead of leaving the parents out of it. Number 3, give every kid a caring leader in a predictable and safe community where they can grow spiritually. The kids need to grow. The kids need to be safe, because I feel like whenever, back in the day, and just especially whenever I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel like I could talk to anybody about anything. We need to create that for like the child, especially and as they're growing up as a teen and as a young adult, they need to know that they're safe. Number 4, craft core truths into engaging, relevant, and memorable experiences. Let them have fun. Let them have engaging experiences, and help them be able to understand what this means, and be able to help understand what Jesus is, and like instead of just watering it down, like be real with them, talk about who Jesus is, and that's what the next generation pastor will do. Number 5, create consistent opportunities to kids and teenagers to serve. And the last one is just like influence service, and just like to give them an opportunity to serve and to learn and to grow as a child, and be able to grow in their faith as a child. And like that's what helps Next Generation Pastor does, and it helps the child be able to grow in that area and help them be molded by the ministries in that area. And also it shows that like the care of the ministries individually, and it really, really helps with just how much they want to see them grow. Let's like all bring it into one bow. Next Generation Pastor is the future of discipling your child and learning how to talk to graduate from high school. When we really realize that Next Gen Pastor is so much more than family ministry, and that it can grow the family ministry, the way we disciple our child will be able to change completely different, and be able to bless the student at the end, be able to grow them in for such a memorable experience for the rest of their lives. And when we go the extra mile, when we go 1 mile, God goes the extra mile to really investing in our next generation. And so if you're considering a job that has been with investing in the overarching plan of a child, then I think Next Generation Passion is what you should be doing. If you're really interested in really working with the ministries below and making sure that the child, from the time that they're in preschool to high school, is growing and having memorable experience, or growing their faith and their relationship with Jesus, then you can be who you needed. My thing that I'm really big on is being who you needed. Like, if you feel like you didn't have a leader that was like that for you, and you feel like you didn't have that experience when you're a child, and you're passionate about students and kids, be who you needed. And thank you so much.